Well, it may be a little redundant to say this, the American version of The Office is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. While it may have that in common with 95% of the people who watch TV or own Netflix, The Office is a show that has meant something to me for a good while now. And after rewatching almost every YouTube video and reading every article that I could find about the show, I realized I have some really differing opinions. When the show dropped in quality, its best episodes and seasons, it seems like I'm not really on the same wavelength than other people. And while I will be putting out my top 15 favorite episodes a little later on, right now I want to rank every single season of The Office. So without further ado, let's just get right into it.
Hi guys. How's it going, man?
I'm good, thank you. How
The
are
only
you?
season I feel everyone agrees on, season 8 of the show, was a bad one. The show spiraled out of control once Michael left and never really got back on track. Old characters became parodies of themselves, new characters were weak and annoying, and the show really lacked any real focus. While most of the episodes were boring, at times season 8 could veer off into the territory of being terrible. Angry Andy completely destroyed any likability that Andy had at some point. The Tallahassee arc was pointless, and Pam's replacement might just be the worst episode of the entire series, turning Pam from one of the best characters in sitcom history to an overly petty and controlling jerk. This season is almost unrecognizable as the same show from earlier seasons. The writing is mediocre at best, I wasn't invested in any of the storylines, and the show just doesn't work without Michael Scott. While there are a handful of episodes that I would say are watchable, nothing sticks out as amazing or even just good, except for Garden Party, which I'll talk about in my favorite episodes list. Season 8 of The Office is the best example of why it's always a bad idea to continue a show without its main character. There is an argument to be had of whether Michael Scott is the main character or not, but clearly his departure from the show is what caused this season to be such a bad one, easily being the worst of the series.
I saw a friend today, it had been a while.
Barely edging out season 8, the ninth and final season of The Office is a very mixed bag. While the bad episodes are far worse than those of season 8, there are a few that I would call legitimately great. Roy's wedding was a surprisingly subtle episode that provided a lot of closure for Pam's character. Staremageddon felt like a season 5 episode in the best way, and the final two episodes, AARM and Finale, were both great and sent off the show in the best way possible. However, those few great episodes really don't make up for how bad this season could get. Both Minnie Dwight and Plop were annoying, episodes felt even more pointless than the previous season, and Jim and Pam's marriage struggles were written in the worst way possible. Instead of letting the inevitability of struggles in their marriage run its course, the writers made it come off so forced and unrealistic. And every decision made about the storyline was just terrible, resulting in both characters not feeling like the same people whatsoever.
In the wild, there is no healthcare. In the wild, healthcare is, ow, I hurt my leg, I can't run, a lion eats me, and I'm dead. Well, I'm not dead.
Now we get into the first part of the list where my opinions start to differ. The first season of The Office, in my opinion, can't be put in front of anything but the last two seasons. Michael is a completely different character from what we know and love. A few of the episodes feel like ones that just got cut from season 2, and it's only 6 episodes long. To me, this season just can't compare to seasons 2 through 7. The pilot is a blatant ripoff, and the show just hadn't found its footing yet. However, that doesn't mean I don't like this season. It's a very watchable one, and there are even a few great moments. The Alliance showed off early signs of chemistry between Jim and Dwight, basketball and healthcare were funny enough, and Diversity Day might just be the funniest episode of the entire show. Without getting into too much, that one episode got me hooked on the entire show. It was consistently hilarious, showed how much chemistry the cast had with each other, and laid the groundwork for the monumental season 2. While I'm not a huge fan of this season, I still feel it was a very necessary one for more than obvious reasons. Even if the show wasn't quite there yet, the potential was through the roof, really from the start.
Got almost everybody, so Holly's my family now. She's my family.
While far from a great season, I would say that Season 7 is the first in this ranking that I fully enjoy. Were there moments and episodes that I really didn't like? Of course. But the episodes that were important to the season changes so drastically, and I feel they wrapped up Michael Scott's character in the best way possible. I am very much in the camp that believes the show should have ended after Goodbye Michael. That episode is the perfect send-off for one of the greatest characters in TV history, and is one of the most subtle episodes of the entire series, really showing off how much Michael cares about everyone in that office like they are his family. Season 7 was home to a lot of more character-driven episodes that really are this season's strong point. Episodes like Wolf.com, Garage Sale, and China take the time to focus on storylines that would have been played up for a joke in earlier seasons, and really focus on the characters. While not all these episodes are home runs necessarily, they're worth watching for those few moments where you really get great character moments. However, for as much as I really do like Season 7, it's nowhere near perfect. A decent chunk of the season is pretty throwaway. A lot of the episodes feel directionless in the same way that Season 8 and 9 episodes do, lacking a true focus or any real personality. Even if I wouldn't consider them some of the worst of the series, episodes like Christening, Nepotism, and Todd Packer just kind of feel lifeless, lacking the comedic punch that the show usually packs. A good amount of the season is like that, including some of the better episodes. And then when you take into account how terrible all the episodes were following Goodbye Michael, and the utter disappointment that was Will Ferrell's D'Angelo, Season 7 could get pretty rough at times. However, despite those rougher edges, Season 7 is still a pretty solid season of TV, all things considered. You know, Michael marrying Holly, Michael leaving, all those moments were great. And while it's nowhere close to the quality of the show's best seasons, I still enjoy it for the most part.
Parkour! Michael! Parkour! Parkour!
Extreme!
Parkour! Parkour! This
Looking back at it, I completely understand why people don't like Season 7. Despite some of its stronger moments, the show was showing real signs of decline. However, I cannot understand the same sentiment about Season 6. Not only does it contain Niagara Parts 1 and 2, which is just the culmination of everything that was building up inside the entire show, it is home to some of the show's funniest episodes. Koi Pond, Gossip, and Double Date are all extremely hilarious and provide some of the show's best awkward humor. Speaking of which, Scott's Tots is almost unbearable to watch for how uncomfortable it can get. That episode will probably give you the worst secondhand embarrassment you've ever had, and I love it for that reason. Other episodes like St. Paddy's Day and Murder provide really great character moments, showing off how well-rounded of a cast this show really has. The only real negative that comes to mind for the season is how it kind of loses steam towards the end. Even if the second half of the season isn't bad by any means, it definitely feels pretty mediocre compared to the first half. While I didn't love what they did with Jim's character and Saber's kind of take it or leave it, Season 6 is still The Office firing at all cylinders, and really, Jim and Pam's wedding puts the season above the last couple miles ahead of it. One of the best moments of the show.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. No! Why did you bring that here?
Don't worry, she's dead. Oh, wait. He's dead.
Now this is the part of the ranking that is most likely going to get me the most hate. Look, I get it. Season 2 is an incredible season and completely changed the game in terms of how great the show could be. I love the season. However, these next 4 seasons were extremely hard to rank, seeing how they're 4 of my favorite seasons in any TV show ever. So it was very, very hard ranking them. Just know that. So just know, it really just comes down to personal preference here. This season is great. The show found its footing after the rocky first season and just went all out. The character moments, the jokes, the plot points, everything was a home run with this season. The Dundies, Office Olympics, The Fire, The Fight, Booze Cruise, Casino Night. All of these are classic episodes that define a generation of sitcoms. Not a single episode feels wasted with this season. All of them are either drop-dead hysterical or extremely well-written character episodes. This season was monumental for that era of sitcoms and deserves most of the praise it receives. The only reason I have it at number 4, like I said, is personal preference. While I love the season, to me, the more interesting plot points and character relationships would come later. Other than that, though, the season is truly amazing, with each episode being killer and having some of the best emotional moments in the entire show. Season 2 is regarded as a classic for a reason.
Dunder Mifflin, Dwight Schrute. Please hold.
If this season was longer, it would have easily topped this list. In just 14 episodes, Season 4 managed to produce some of the show's best moments and episodes. This season is considerably darker than the previous 3, focusing on Michael's toxic relationship with Jan and how badly it affects his mental health, his financial struggles, and Dwight's heartbreak over Angela. If this were any other show, these moments would have felt kind of out of place, not making sense within the context of the show. However, The Office handles this more depressing topics in such a human way that it feels like a natural progression for it. Episodes like Survivor Man, Local Ad, and Share Model all mask the more depressing undertones with humor, making them feel more hopeful than anything, which in my opinion is the most genuine way that they could have handled these plotlines. While it is a really great season, it also gets bonus points for being having the first episodes of Jim and Pam together, because their chemistry is just one of the best aspects of the show. To me, Season 3 took everything that was great about Season 2 and took it to a whole other level. The jokes were sharper, the characters felt fully fleshed out, the kind of awkward timing of the previous 2 seasons was completely gone. This was the show running at full speed and pretty much everything was clicking. Pam went from being a very enjoyable character to one of the most likable and compelling in sitcom history. From the more subtle moments of Phyllis's wedding and the merger to the larger character moments in Business School and Beach Games, she really became something special in this season. We were introduced to new characters that actually worked, like Andy and Karen. Michael hit that sweet spot of being just sympathetic enough to be extremely likable while still being completely outrageous. And Dwight kind of became the funniest character in sitcom history in the season. Don't at me on that. Plenty of great episodes are to be found in this season as well. The Convention, Branch Closing, Beach Games, A Benihana Christmas. Not a single throwaway or bad episode is to be found in this season. To me, when I think of The Office, Season 3 comes to mind. This is when the show finally hit that stride of being extremely funny and having some of the best character moments in sitcom history. While there may be another season that I prefer to this one, it probably is the best season of any sitcom ever, objectively.
Not halfway! I did the math. I could drive way longer than you. Montclair would have been closer, so you have to buy lunch.
And easily the most controversial pick of this ranking, my favorite season of The Office is Season 5. This season that had the most laughs, best character moments, and just the most enjoyable season to watch. Customer Survey, Prince Family Paper, and Business Trip may sound pretty forgettable on paper, but are extremely funny and memorable in execution. All 3 two-parters, Lecture Circuit, Stress Relief, and Weight Loss, are all great in their own right. Cafe Disco is in my top 5 favorite episodes of the entire show, and Employee Transfer is one of the most heartbreaking episodes in the entire show, really endearing Michael to the audience. Speaking of which, what really puts this season over every other has to be the Michael Scott Paper Company arc. Michael has always been one of my favorite characters in all of TV, and this arc is one of the prime examples of why. It has outrageously funny humor, but also has a lot of quieter moments that feel really human and genuine. The arc endears you not only to Michael, but Pam and Ryan as well. To me, this season has everything that made Season 4 so great, but told in a more optimistic way. The season feels more hopeful and is just heartwarming. Moments like Pam returning to Scranton for Jim, Dunder Mifflin buying Michael Scott Paper Company, and just the entirety of Cafe Disco are some of the most heartwarming moments in any sitcom. But it's not done in a way that feels cheap or unearned or cheesy. All of these moments feel genuine and real, and that's why And that's what I love most about this show. Really, Season 5 is everything that I love about The Office. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was an absolute bitch to write and edit. Whew, Jesus. This took forever. But I hope you guys liked it, and I will see you later.